I'm in the process of putting together a complex deal that involves a number of different parties, and it's been traveling for a number of months, and I'm just bringing it down to a fine point of towards execution. What's intimidating about this for a founder is that a founder's focus has been on grassroots development, on pivoting and bootstrapping and building their business and being passionate and knowing their market and knowing what their story is. And that's great, knowing who their client is, talking with conviction to their client. But you bring in someone who's a billion-dollar business or someone else who wants to maybe scale your value proposition into another jurisdiction, another country, or whatever it might be, you're talking totally next level conversation. And almost every founder I've come across chokes in that sort of situation. How do we negotiate with them? Fear of loss. What do I do if I don't manage my negotiations? How am I taken advantage of? How do I hold the frame? How do I follow my intention through with conviction and get there? I'm just conscious that we may say we're running out of time if we don't get a good outcome on this. I mean, surely it's the outcome we're after, not whether we're one day earlier. It's such a fine balance, keeping everyone in flow and at the table and engaged, but still moving. So getting them from positions or dislodging them when they get stuck, and putting them out and making sure they can all keep moving at the same time. I've noticed they never seem to agree to anything in these joint calls, in these big calls, but they really don't. I think if we push them in a one-on-one call, to say, do you agree is this a fair principle we can settle on and we can instruct our lawyers accordingly? I think we can then make progress that way, and it may be that on these issues rather than a big full call, and just to get this over the line. I mean, that gives you earn-out stability, and it also the budget leads into the conversation about the salary as well. And at the same time, making sure everyone gets heard, so no one is alienated along the way, no one goes into bitterness or into resentment, but they're in a space of contribution, and the deal comes together into one form or one frame, rather than just a collection of win-lose scenarios. Well, I think we float the principles past them. Yeah, but if we don't know what their principles are, they can just keep moving the goalposts and procrastinating and. So gentle leadership is about how do you drop in to the other person's perspective. You relate to them. They're seen by you, and you lead them to a set of principles that you want to achieve. So everyone's coming together towards one principle-based outcome, not shrinking towards a position of individual polarization. But we need to hit them on Thursday on principle. It's the principles. It's not, our polarization is not working at the moment. One thing that often occurs in deal making is blame. People get polarized. It's not my fault. I'll dig in my heels. I'm okay. My advice was sound. I'm doing it for the right reasons. I can't account for them. That needs to be nipped in the bud so quickly. That's a deal killer. I'm happy to look at this. Is one. It's a very creative thing. It's almost like an artistic thing. I've got to actually craft it and then see how to seed it inside it, and then maybe we can combine the two into one. Exit strategies are an art form. So entrepreneurs are so often, almost exclusively, if they're doing it properly, focusing on what is an exit strategy. But so few people know what that really means. Is it an exit for you? Are you going to sell your business? Are you going to take some money and go and sit on the beach while someone else probably runs it into the ground or integrates it into something that loses its identity? And you have to be happy that you haven't got attachment to that. Or is it the exit strategy for them? And you're using them as a leapfrog to move you forward to truly next level. So what is the exit strategy? Is the exit strategy to license off part of your business to a jurisdiction you weren't planning to be in and have that capitalize your business with their money. I think the key thing is making sure our numbers are right in it. And having a soft landing at the end of it. Most founders don't last more than 2 years after a material shareholder transfer. Most don't last more than 2 years. So how are you going to negotiate? What comes next? How are you going to ensure your continuity? Do you know what you want post-investment or post-exit? That is an important conversation. Well, they're trying to get us to talk to their document, and we're trying to get them to talk to our document. And our document revolves around EBIT, and their document revolves around a new bonus structure we haven't seen before that requires a lot of revenue. It's completely changed to move the goalposts. And it's a much smaller goalpost than growth. So do we continue these negotiations and push through despite all the conflict and difficulty and challenge that comes up in disclosures and different sets of intentions to get next level? Or do we pull away and it falls over and then we know that they've been unleashed to go after our competition? So how do we get ready? How do we get ready for that sort of conversation that is going to arrive on your doorstep whether you're successful, when you're successful, whether you like it or not, it's coming. How do you get ready for that? And so I don't think that there's as I think was a nefarious was the word you used, or an alternative agenda here. I think we can, there are no guarantees here. People so often get the wrong idea as to what their other party is thinking or doing or believing. And you may very well misinterpret in a transaction, in a deal. You may well think they're disrespecting me, they're not returning my calls, they don't care about this transaction anymore. I'm pleased I saw the real colours of them now. But what's really going on is they're thinking, they're slow to turn this around. They're thinking about you. You're not being decisive. Your advisors are being a bit pedantic. Maybe you're not showing them enough respect. You're not relating enough to them. Are you hiding behind correspondence? What's happened to the relatedness going on here? Maybe they're withdrawing because it's something you did. They have their own reality, and you need to be aware of their reality. And it may be that you and I have another chat with, on these issues, rather than a big full call. And just to get this over the line. I mean, that gives you earn-out stability, and it also the budget leads into the conversation about the salary as well. So to break deal fatigue in this area, you need to call them up. You need to go back to the high-level principles. You need to reinvigorate them. Show them that you all have the same destination, and keep it simple. What are the things we need to break? What do we need to tick off and break through on to get to closure? How short is that path? That's great to throw that one back in the frame again as an offer. But I think let's see if we can get some headway by this Friday. And maybe I really like keeping it simple and going back to the fundamentals you mentioned earlier on about tying this to the budget and the earn-out and stability all around that. It's very hard to negotiate on that in principle. This transaction's taken a number of months to get to this stage. It involves so much disclosure. It's like a marriage. You need to know how the parties live, what you might find in the closets, who you're getting into bed with, what the relationship's going to be like, and you've got to know that actually you can exit in about 3 to 5 years comfortably, and everyone is comfortable and has a really good outcome, maybe 3 years from now. So no one gets taken advantage of in the process. So it's a complex journey, and it's a lot of fun. Can we approach this a different way? We've chatted about it before, and we parked it before, but in our call last Friday, it was clear that their view of mismanagement was dramatically different from ours. Dramatically different. And I think this could be another situation where we're both want the same thing, but we're talking from different ends of the stick, and it looks like we're miles apart. We might not be. Deal making requires another party. That other party may be doing a number of other deals at the same time. They may be playing at a totally different level to the entrepreneur. Hopefully they are, because it's a great place to move into. And so they may move at a different pace. They may have more depth in their legal team. They've got more case experience on how to do the transaction well. Yep. All right. Great stuff, guys. Okay, cheers. Bye. So in deal making, there are three things, in a nutshell, to approach any transaction with. Three things to have top of mind. And the first one is about respect and empathy. And I put them together because for deal making, they're really one and the same. Do you respect the other person? And what kind of empathy do you have for their situation? The second thing is knowing what you want. Be really clear, what do you want? What's your desired outcome? And the third thing is watch out for deal fatigue. Watch out for how long the transaction goes on for and how other parties are showing up to the transaction. Watch out for deal fatigue. It's an absolute killer.